Hey everyone, welcome to another YouTube channel. It is another wonderful evening. As you can tell by looking at my hair and everything, it's been a long day at work. Today though, we're going to go ahead and show you how to upgrade an SD card on your Switch. I've been needing to do this for a while. My kids have gotten a lot of games and it's not very fun having to delete games, re-download them, switch them around. You guys know the drill. So we've got a couple questions before we get started. Number one is, does it matter which SD card I get? First off, it only takes micro SD cards. And as far as speeds go, it doesn't really matter. The only time it does matter is if you really want to see just a few quicker seconds of turning the game on, or, you know, having your game saves, the time it takes for your games to save back to the SD card. I mean, that stuff, you know, getting the faster speed is obviously the best, but honestly, it doesn't make that big of a difference unless you get a substantially slower one. But I'll go ahead and leave a few links in the comment section below on the ones that I recommend. There's a few good ones. We'll get them in different sizes. We'll probably do something like a 128, 256, and a 512. I really don't see a reason to go bigger than that. So before we do get started though, there is a storage requirement on your computer, because what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna end up copying off of the SD card to your computer, from your computer to the new SD card. So we need to make sure that we have enough free space on there, and these SD cards are holding all of your downloaded games, your game saves, photos, videos, you name it. Pretty much everything that has to do with your Switch is going to be on there. So it's going to take quite a bit of space. Let's assume that you have a 64 gig or even 128 gigabyte SD card in there, and it's maxed out. Well, it's going to take that much space. So plan accordingly. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and show you what we've got here. Okay, so here's our supply list and what we've got. I first would like to apologize about the lighting. That's all right though. As long as we see what we've got, we'll be good. So we've got our Switch. I'm sure everyone else's looks just as damaged. That's what happens when you play it a lot with the kids. Our new SD card here, which this one we've got the Samsung Evo 512 gigabyte. That should definitely be plenty of storage. And this handy little contraption came with it. That is the converter. So we just go ahead and slide this into that so we can actually fit it into our computers. And since my computer doesn't have your standard SD card slot, I've got this USB-C. You can see it starts on one side as USB-C, and it converts to pretty much everything else that I'll need. So this is the slot that it'll go in, and then I'll plug this into my computer. So let's go ahead and get started. I guess before we even do that though, I mean, you just need to make sure that on your computer, I mean, a lot of laptops still come with the SD card slot. You can go get an SD card converter, or you can do what I have, or use, you know, a docking station. They're pretty simple to find. I'll also check some of those into our comments as well, or not the comments, but, you know, the description. So getting started, we just go ahead and flip this guy over here, like so. Normally you'll have your Switch kickstand right here, but since we've used and abused ours, we no longer have that available to us. Right underneath in this secret little enclave right here is where your micro SD card is. You'll note that it does say micro SD card in this way and shows the proper way to put it in. We'll go ahead and take this. Let's see here, because they're all designed the same. You can see by that image you've got the little curves on there, so you'll know exactly which way to put it in. So in this guy, we'll go ahead and remove it. You push in and it makes a little clicking sound. I'm gonna go ahead and do this with one. It just made a pop. It pops it out a little bit further and you just grab it and slide it on out. Yes, I have fat fingers. Now we go ahead and just take it in this guy here. Oh, there we go. And slide it in. Let me turn it this way so we can see a little bit better. Just pop it in just like that. There you go. And we'll go ahead and put it in here and get it onto the computer, where we'll continue this fun little escapade. Perfect. Now we have it plugged in. Let's go ahead and browse to the folder. Some of you will notice a little pop-up here in the bottom right-hand corner. You just go ahead and click that, and it'll take you right to it. In my case, I missed that part since I'm trying to record. And we'll go ahead and look for it here in the sidebar. I've got a lot of drives, as you can see, but in this case, it's going to be my untitled drive. And I wonder, let's see if we can make this easier for some of you guys out there. Okay, perfect. So if you have network drives, it's going to be under network locations. Mine's going to be untitled. I mean, I'm guessing because it shows it's 120 gigs on this thing, and since I have a 120 gig card in there, this is most likely it. Let's go ahead and look. Sure enough, it is. Okay, so what Nintendo would like us to do is we just need to copy this somewhere temporarily so that we can copy it back to the new card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create on my desktop a new folder by right-clicking, clicking on New Folder, and I'm going to go ahead and put something different here. Let's call it temporary. And yes, for you smart thinkers, you could technically just drag and drop this onto the desktop if you want. But I just want to make sure that it's still clean, nothing's been changed. I know, call me superstitious, but sometimes weird things happen. So I'm going to right-click on this, copy it, go to my new temporary folder I created, and paste it if I can find it. And off we go. Yes, it's lightning fast. No, I'm just kidding. No, this is going to be a while. I'm going to have to speed this up a notch here in this video. So we'll be back when it's complete, and we'll continue on. See you guys in a second. Holy cow, it is amazing how long that takes. That's a lot of data. Well, it's done now. So let's go ahead and swap out those cards to the new one that we got, and we'll continue on. All right, part one's done. Let's go ahead and pull this out, stick the new one into it. I'm gonna go ahead and use my one finger to pull it out. And come on, almost got you. Ooh, talent. Okay. Stick that there. Take this guy. Let's go ahead and slide that in, just like so. And we'll see you back on the computer. All right, guys, new card is in, and it is time to format it. Now, we can do that one of two ways. You know, the people who are, you know, used to formatting things, you know, you'll remember here that you can just go ahead and right-click on the disk when you get to it, and simply click format. Normally I would do that too. However, in the Nintendo documentation, they state that they want you to use a tool to format it with. And since I like to stay on the cautious side, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and Google the tool for us, but because I'm a nice guy, all right, I'm really not. I'm just kidding. I'm going to go ahead and just leave the link for you guys in the description below, which will make it a little bit easier because nobody likes to Google if they don't have to. So let's get started. Okay, so this tool is called the SD Card Formatter. There's my search, and here's the result. Perfect, exactly what I'm looking for. Now, some of you guys have Windows, some of you guys have Mac, some of you guys have Linux. Unfortunately for the Linux users, they don't have this tool for you, but for Mac, you're good to go. Same with Windows. I'm on the Windows machine. I went ahead and selected the Windows, and honestly, if you guys ever read the scary stuff here, you're gonna have to let me know because that's impressive. I mean, it's just, I don't understand why they do this. There's just so much information in there, and honestly, are you really gonna decline and just say, no, I don't want it? I don't think so. No, that was quick. That was a good download. So it looks like they give it to us in a zip folder. Let's go ahead and just open this up. There it is. Double click on that folder, and there's our installer. Because I'm lazy, I'm going to just copy that onto my desktop. Here it is up here. Let me close that window, close my browser, and double click on this. And for those who do not have administrator account, make sure you have administrator privileges or get administrator privileges from whoever has it. Since I'm an administrator, it's not going to ask me for my credentials, so I'm good to go. But some of you will run into the fact where it'll probably pop up and it'll ask you to put in your administrative credentials. If that's the case, it's probably your parents or somebody playing a prank on you. There it goes. See how it's just, it asks that. Now, normally at that point, it would ask you for the credentials, but since I've got the privileges, I just went through it. It wants me to launch the program. Looks great. Yes, I do. Okay. Here we go. So this thing is typically smart enough to find the SD card, since it's, you can see here it says the card information. It found it on drive E. It's got 477 gigabytes on it. Yes, you guys will be disappointed to know that whenever you get a large drive size, you're just simply not going to get the entire amount that you paid for. It's just a fact of life. Always has been that way. It's unfortunate, actually. That's okay, though. So we'll go ahead and just leave it on quick format. I'm going to give it a name. You do not have to, but since I like to keep my stuff organized, I'm just going to go ahead and name it Switch. And format it. Yes, do you really want to format? Basically states it's going to erase everything on there, so pray that you don't have something on there that you want to keep. For those who happen to not be using a brand new card like I am, might want to double check, make sure you don't have some pictures or videos or something on there that you don't want to lose. So in this case, it's new for me. I'm going to go ahead and click yes. Format is complete. Looks like it formatted the extension FAT or extended FAT. Capacity looks good. All right, perfect. Okay, looks good. We will now go ahead and close this, and it's time to copy the data back over to this new one. So remember that I minimized our temporary folder that I created. Here is the folder that we're going to be dragging and dropping. I'm going to open up another folder to get to my E drive, also known as the Switch. There it is. See that? We named it Switch. Looks good. It's all organized and pretty. Now it comes a long way. Now, if you thought that copying the data was bad, writing the data back is much slower. So go watch some other YouTube videos, get a cup of coffee, go for a drive, go shopping, whatever you want to do. It's a lot of data. So we'll go ahead and speed up the video like we did on the last run and finish up from there. So just like we did before, copy and paste. All right, looks like we made it. Holy cow. It really does take a while, doesn't it? Oh, well, at least it's done, and hopefully we don't have to do this again. Now, don't forget, before we test this, that we need to eventually remove, well, let's see, this is on the correct one. It's this guy here from the temporary folder. Once we double check to make sure that the games can actually turn on the Switch and everything's there, then we can go ahead and come back on the computer and delete this folder, because everyone, it is big. You don't want to leave such a large folder on your computer. It takes a lot of space, so don't forget that. We'll come back to that in a bit. So let's go ahead and eject this and let's see if it works, huh? All right, good. Here we go. Okay, perfect. Let's go check it out. Great, with part 2 being done, let's go ahead and put this back into the Switch. Let's get it out there. Perfect. And scrolling back over here. Go ahead and just push it in all the way. You'll see that it kind of comes to a stop right here, and then you just use the rest of your finger and it just makes that snap. Done. All right, now that it's in, let's go ahead and give it a shot and see if it works. We want to do two things. One, we want to make sure that the SD card is recognized and shows the correct amount of space. We can do this by going to our system settings and dropping down to disk management, and up in the top right hand corner, man, that reflection is just horrible. Let's see if we can do this a little bit better here. There we go. Okay. Then you'll notice here up at the top right, it shows the micro SD card, and it's showing that we have 372 gigabytes of free space, which is just about right because we know that we pulled out about 128 gigs of data. Actually, I think it's somewhere around 100 gigs of data, but the disk itself or the micro SD card was 128, but since we know that they don't always use the full amount, is what we get. So it all adds up. So we know that we at least have the card recognized. It knows that there's space. Now we just need to make sure that the games actually launch. And these games here are downloaded games. You want to make sure you tempt it on the downloaded game to know for sure that it's working. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the Animal Crossing. Whoops. I'm just kidding. Animal Crossing. Let's go ahead. I want to close it out. Looks like somebody was playing that previously. Close out. Closing software. Looks good. Okay, and we are launching. If there's no errors here, which it doesn't appear to be so quite yet, let's move back to get a little clarity. No errors. I think we're good. Yep, there's the logo on the bottom, so we're good. Okay, well, that's about it, guys. It's actually pretty simple, as you found out. Hopefully that this tutorial was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, once again, don't forget, go ahead and ask me anything you want. If I've made any stupid mistakes, go ahead and correct me. But most importantly of all, make sure you guys subscribe so I can keep creating this content if you find it helpful. Thank you.